Hey everybody, welcome to this week's stream. I'm gonna go ahead and get started here real soon. We kind of changed up a little bit of the things here, and we're actually changing them on the fly with the chat. I don't think it was visible last week, right?
It's a bit harder to read.
Yeah, now it's just a gray box, but yeah, we're gonna make it a little bit more easy to read for everybody. So, hope everybody's doing good today. Go ahead and go through here. Yeah, I'll try not to point it out. The one you're bidding on, Sheba Fox. But without saying what it is, I mean, obviously we're just going to kind of go through here. There's not as many this week, so it's probably not going to be a really long stream unless we just get to talking, which is completely possible with me. I kind of just go on tangents quite a bit, like I am right now. So, all right, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Oops. Forgot to go back to the beginning. Spoiler. Oh, I haven't changed the screen yet. There ain't no spoilers. Haha.
Top one.
I know. This time I got it. All right, awesome. So, yeah, there's only like 5 pages this week. So, I want to start off with this one here, and it might not be a crazy amount to look at, right? You know, pastel clowns or pastel in general kind of bleeds out a lot of the pattern and whatnot, but I'm thinking about just somebody, and there's only a minute left on this, by the way, so someone might be getting this, but yeah, proven breeder. Anytime that if somebody's new wanting to get into this and still create really cool things, this is a really cool way to do that. I mean, if you want to create Batmans, kind of a real simple way to do that, because this is part of the ingredients right here. Pastel leopard clown. You just get yourself a spot nose clown male, and there you go. As soon as you hit the leopard spot nose clown, that is a Batman. So if that's what you were wanting to do, you have 25 seconds to do so. And it's a really cheap female to immediately start breeding. She's a proven breeder. Looks like she laid 9 eggs just a month ago. And from a really good breeder too. Probably just, you know, sorting up through things, getting some holdbacks and whatnot. So not for everybody, obviously, but if you wanted to learn and create cool things at the same time, this would be would have been a good one. Let's make sure that you didn't get bid on. Oh, that ended. Somebody won that for $250, so very cool. But I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next one since this one is no longer available. This one's a little ways out. This one's got 15 hours left on it, but it is another breeder, and that's why I wanted to kind of highlight it, because again, you can create cool things and still kind of do it on a budget while learning at the same time. It is completely possible with the market right now, so take advantage of it. And that would be this Super Pastel Desert Ghost. So if you wanted to work the Desert Ghost projects, this is a good one. Pastel works really good with Desert Ghost. I think Pastel works good with quite a bit, but then there's quite a bit it probably shouldn't be in. It's in everything, right? But it does work really good with Desert Ghost. It cleans it up and it completely prevents a brownout. I mean, this is an adult proven breeder female. So there you go. This is what it looks like as an adult. Kind of just glows. Just very nice. The pastel ones have a little bit less of the creaminess, just if it's just one copy, that is. But this is guaranteed to always pass pastel, and one copy if it's Desert Ghost on, which isn't a bad thing. Pastel's not a dirty word when it comes to Desert Ghost. Some people might not even know what I'm talking about when pastel, but there's like a hate campaign, I think, against pastel, just because it's around really everything. But it really works well in the right things. And if this is something you wanted to do, it's at $250 as well right now. I do suspect it might get a little bit more bids on it. But actually, Johnny, what's 15 hours from right now? Because it depends on when these end. I've seen some auctions end at really odd times, at like 3 in the morning, something like that.
It's gonna be 10:08 a.m. in Central Time.
Okay, yeah, anything like that, it's just like, who's, you know, some people are at work, and some people, you know, like maybe some of the late risers are, when people stay up late, I should say, they're asleep. So I noticed that there's no in between in this community. Either you get up at like 12 or 1, like somebody sitting right next to me right now, or you get up at 6 a.m. like me. And so 10 is, I'm at work and whatnot. So
I just realized John York in chat thought you were talking to him and not me.
oh, my brother's name is John. Hi, John York. I haven't gone through the chat yet. Yes. When you have a brother whose name's John, who everybody's name is a very popular name. Anyways, this still would be a really cool one though to add if you wanted to learn, but still make great things at the same time. There's a lot of different codoms and dominants you could mix into here to make it look even cooler. Like the aforementioned leopard would be really nice. And then you can start working on some of your double recessives and everything like that. So I'm gonna take a minute to go through here. Just kind of go through the chat. I don't like to hit the auction. Not me pursuing Morphmarket on my phone at work. Yeah, I know, right? Sometimes if I get a moment, yeah, I will. There you go, Johnny. He says hi to you. And hi, Salty Cells. Garrett says he's going to have his first ever clutch November 9th. Very cool. Very, very cool. Congratulations. Try not to be too nervous. It's like a dime a dozen. It's like I'm so used to it now, but the excitement stays as you start to do it, but the nervousness goes away of like, oh my God, what if something bad happens? Because you can't stop that. You do what you can. And but yeah, congratulations. Don't try to be too nervous. Just enjoy it.
Has anyone noticed any buffering, by the way? So I've buffered a couple times, but YouTube says the stream's perfectly healthy, so
yeah.
So if you notice any consistent buffering, let us know in chat.
8 healthy eggs for a first clutch. That's nice. That's very nice. I think the most I've ever had was 13, but one of them I felt like she was she just gave up on the last one and squished it. And then I've had 12 twice now, including right now. So I have 2 egg boxes in there. It's nuts. But anytime you can get 6 or more, that's great. That's the average is 6. So the 13, I've had it from 2 of them. One was this Enchi here. It's just a normal Enchi, but she is huge, like 4,000 grams. And then the other one is just a het pied, and that's just now. And I've got her going to. What the heck do I have her going to? I think I just wanted to create banana pieds. Yeah, that's a very simple clutch. I'm just trying to create banana pieds because they're cool. And, sometimes you just want to create things like that. They're cool pet quality type things, and can also delve into the breeder, stuff too. They're still useful on the lower end. But she's pretty big too. She surprised me with 13 eggs though. I didn't expect 13. Yeah, they lose a lot of weight after they lay sometimes though. So, alright, moving right along. This one really caught my attention. I really, really like this one, and I will explain why. It's going to be... there's some interest actually here, so maybe it won't be super duper cheap, but anytime you can get a super gravel or a super asphalt, especially in like a female or even a male, honestly, it's fine. They're great if you're working the highways and the freeway projects. This one specifically is obviously the highway. Gravel and yellow belly create a highway. And if you don't know what that is, well, these are some highways, and they basically... I don't know why it didn't load by... Oh, okay, it just loaded that. But a highway has these like a dirty road, like a desert road kind of going down its back. You can see like the line in the middle, little yellow line there. But they make great, awesome, flashy looking animals, and they're relatively kind of simple to make. I mean, look at this, like pastel is another one that goes good, but pastel goes good with it. Really brings in some nice whites on it and whatnot. There's a lot of other different combos. Here's your kind of just standard highway. They look awesome right, just by themselves. So I'm trying to find some cool combos. There's one way to do that. Highest price. I'm gonna regret this. See, some of them aren't loading the same way. Can you get rid of this and actually just type in genetics for it? Gravel. Yellow belly. Oh, look, they spelled yellow belly. I'm seeing a lot of different things here, but you can kind of see it's a very simple but flashy combo. There's a paradox; those are always cool. Not getting everything I want here in the first search result, but this is an adult highway clown. They're much cooler as babies, obviously. But they're just very striking looking animals. And honestly, I like the super gravels just about as much. Just a little bit different with a lot of oranges and whatnot too. So, but the point is that you're always going to pass the copy of gravel on. See, if you get a highway, it passes one or the other because they're allelic. So it kind of acts like a super. Same thing with freeway, by the way. A lot of these yellow belly complex genes are like this. But it's always going to pass one of the two. But can you tell me, without a genetic test from RGI, can you tell me the difference between an asphalt and a yellow belly? I don't think so. So with a super gravel, you're always guaranteed to pass the gravel on. So there's no guessing yellow belly or gravel. And a guaranteed way to get highways would be to breed it to an ivory male, which is a super yellow belly. But I wouldn't do that. Honestly, I would probably breed it to something else. I mean, you could breed it into the freeways, into another highway if you wanted to keep it in that route. And then the other benefit here is that it's head clown. So that's huge because you can get the gravel clowns by getting a male that happens to be with something with yellow belly. Like I said, I would probably recommend just splurging and getting the highway or freeway type clowns. And you've got a really good girl here to help add to that project. So very cool. That's a chat. Got a over 3,000 gram bell that's building. Yeah, bells are always great to make. I've got a bunch of those in the incubator too. Every year, they're just awesome. Bananas is another one, just awesome. Always very good to do that. Garrett says that the mom is an albino, dad is an albino, black pestilential. Well, that's cool. So you're always going to get albinos then. If you have visual to visual, everything, I mean, you're going to have cool looking animals. That's another animal that just sells at the pet level. I mean, it's not like it's not the craziest thing on earth, but when people are looking for something cool, something a little bit different than just your standard ball python snake, that's kind of the ones you're looking for. Something that just stands out but won't break the bank. Frogman, yes, we are. We'll be at Tinley. I think that Friday I'll be there, but I'll probably be there a little late. Friday, by the way, if you don't have VIP, it's only for VIP, but VIP doesn't mean like it's just for like rent. You pay extra, and it's very well worth it because you get in on Friday from, I think it's 2 to 7. Like it's just a very people are setting up, so it's like the setup, and then Saturday you get in 2 hours early, and Sunday you get in 2 hours early. It's super worth it because Tinley is crowded. If you were at Schaumburg, do not think it's gonna be like Schaumburg. It is super crowded. I mean, heck, sometimes you get the VIP and it's crowded, but like when those doors open at 10, it's like fire marshal, like closingly busy. Not literally, but it's pretty nuts. So we have some montages of the place just filling up with people from our earlier videos. We made like a music thing, right?
Those are old.
Yeah,
we made like 2022.
Yeah, we made like a music montage of people just like well, it was more than that. It was the whole video, but we kind of had it like a segment of people just being let in at the 10 o'clock hour, whereas the VIPs get in at 8. So it's very nice to be in there with much less traffic. I mean, if you are a person that doesn't like crowds, the VIP access is for you. So especially if you go on Friday, that's super relaxed show. So let's see here. Next season, I'm breeding a Mardi Gras. Oh, that's a nice one. Yeah, to a GHI and G Puma. Yeah, that should make some really cool stuff. And GHI is about one of my favorite co-dominants. I love it. I've worked it quite a bit, and I have a lot of plans with it. So, son just made a pastel banana chocolate trick. Anything with those chocolate trick, and trick is the same thing as hurricane. It's been genetically proven to be 100% the same, and they're both obviously very awesome. Kind of leopardy in terms of what it does, but without at least I feel without really darkening it. Whereas leopard does that, but it still kind of blows up the pattern. So, and yeah, freeways are a good project to have. Picture perfect pythons. They're always going to be solid. There's never a time that they're not going to be. Yeah, that's another good thing. Sarah brings a good point. You do get kind of to see what's there. So if something's up there, you're going to be the first person there to see it for VIP. Most people are set up early. Not everybody, but most people are. So I'll come back to chat. I just want to keep moving on here. Show the next one. What the heck is this? Oh, this is me showing all the. All right. Next up would be this butter double het sunset clown. And ideally you want it in a female, but a female will either not be for sale or will be a lot more. So, obviously this is probably set up so that, they don't want it to go any less than 500, rather than set a reserve on it, which, I appreciate that for sure. But I guess the big thing about this is that not everybody's going to be able to afford the perfect ingredients to create a sunset clown, because that's what you're actually going for when you make this. And if you don't know what those look like, I think we showed it off last week, but I do have it prepared. This is a sunset clown spot, not a sunset clown, but yeah, sunset's a really nice gene. It's sometimes the only detractor I ever hear to it is that it browns out as it ages, but with a lot of simple additions, which that's what we're all about, and when you're creating ball pythons is creating combinations. It very quickly becomes something that is not very browned out. I mean, there you go. You see kind of two differences there on just what they are. I believe that's a sunset clown, but they still stay a little bit brighter as well. Sunset pied, it's the same thing. So this is a desert ghost sunset right there. You can kind of see how they definitely change up, and they look very, very nice. There's a lot of variety here because it starts off on the bottom of it very bright and darkens as it goes up. Kind of, sunsetty, right? So very appropriate name there. But that's kind of what I'm thinking. You got to look at the bigger picture when you see something like this, and you see that it technically holds two of the genes that's necessary to create these. So very cool, and something that if you are on a budget, you can start creating these yourself. Both Sunset and Clown are testable by RGI, so you can send those in. And by the way, we filmed something about it, but we have a way if you send in shed tests through RGI, in the notes field. I think, did we release anything on it, Jenny, at all? We said anything about it?
I believe so.
Okay. But yeah, you can type in code Rhino, and basically on the same snake or on a different snake, you can get an additional test for free. It's the cheapest one is the one that's free, so pay for the more expensive one. And then the second one, which would probably be almost about the exact same cost anyways, would be free if you use code Rhino. Like I said, there's no way to type in a code, so you'd put that in the notes. Say, oh, I also want to test this one, which you've labeled, for yada yada yada, like pied. It's like you were testing for hypo, but now I also want to test for pied, and code Rhino and whatnot. So we'll have more clear instructions on that, but definitely take advantage of it. So very cool, and that's something you could do in a case like if this was 66% for both, or the babies that this would create, for example. It's if you didn't breed it to anything that was clown or sunset, it would pass at 50% of the time. And if you did try to go to another, let's say you get a female het clown, het sunset, anything you miss on will be 66%. And with what genes you have playing at here, you definitely would be wanting to test that, even if you sell it, because it would increase the price massively. I mean, go look at the difference between a butter or a lesser, which is the same gene, and one that has these hets in it, and you know, you'd see a difference monetarily for sure. I think I saw someone talk about Ultramel, and that is what we're into here right now. I'll get back into the chat here in a second, but that would be this pastel blackhead leopard Ultramel, possibly a super blackhead. Anybody who watches our videos knows that I gush about the blackhead gene a lot, because I really like what it does, because it is, I really like the darkening. You know, what got me into it originally, what reeled me in, was like these banana clowns, these really bright, beautiful animals. But then what really hooked me were the contrast with the darks. Because when I say I like a dark snake, I'm not talking like a super black pastel, just a pure dark. Those are cool too, you know, at least the color of them, not the issues that might come with them. But the blackhead does it in a different way. It really and not that black pastel by itself doesn't, but it really just brings in darkness, but holds and works well with light combos, like what you're seeing here. This is not just a black snake, and pastel does have something to say with that, but leopard is generally a little bit more dark. And what you're getting here is a different colored Ultramel, a different flavor of Ultramel. Kind of just flirts with a little bit more of a mahogany type feel, which might be why I like it a little bit more, because I'm kind of a monarch guy myself. Love Ultramel, don't get me wrong, but this kind of flirts with that just a little bit more in terms of its coloring. Just a very nice, cool animal. And if he does prove out his super blackhead for a breeder, he'd be incredibly powerful, because he's always going to pass one copy of that along. So another one, you know, like I said, this one's got 24 hours about, just under. I suspect it'd go for a little more. He's more than halfway to ready, technically, at least for sure halfway. And I think this one would be really good. If you're into Ultramel, this is all the really right genes. This is one that I might like to see without pastel, ironically. I think that you'd have, you know, where it's fading, where those fades are, where it kind of becomes a little more light, like right here and whatnot, would be more of this dark instead. Just a really nice controlled, but the pattern would be very bright instead. So that I'd like to see this without pastel, and there's plenty of ways you could use this boy in an Ultramel project and create some really cool things. So let me go through the comments again here. And if I don't get to every comment, I apologize. It's great to see people have started. It started like last week. People were starting to talk in the comments. It was so cool. Not that people weren't before, but now it's like, yeah, very cool. So nice. Couldn't believe how crowded it was. Yeah, if you're talking about Tinley, I think you are. It gets pretty crowded. We end up leaving around noon and going to eat, kind of wait and come back, and it sort of settles down, I guess. I guess the point is go against the grain of the crowd, for sure, and try not to bring so much bulky things. Yeah. He says it for sure because he films them.
If you're gonna bring a trolley, at least have a Tegu in it, alright?
Yeah, right, yeah. Most of my collection revolves around Inchy and Albino. I love albinos, so yeah, albinos are an old but goodie. Very nice. Yeah, I've seen the Ultramel comment there from Sheba Fox. Yeah, this would be an awesome one. Like I said, I'm more into the the Monarch myself, but I do think of them as different. They're similar-ish, but they're still very, very different. So they create different looking animals. I hear the Ultramel versus Monarch thing all the time, and it always makes me laugh. Been hunting for a black-head leopard, head Ultramel, when that... Well, there you go. Yeah, he would be very, very powerful. Can you explain what het means in this case? I'm not sure which one we were looking at when I said het, but het means heterozygous. It's just the short term for it. It means there's one copy of a recessive gene, and you only hear it with recessive genes. Well, mostly. Some genes, unfortunately, have a confusing name, and they call themselves het, but we won't get into that. It's just confusing. So Ultramel is a recessive morph. This boy is always going to pass one copy of his gene on if you bred him. If the female did not have het, Ultramel, or Ultramel, every baby would be het. So basically you need two copies of a recessive to show a visual example. As opposed to leopard, blackhead, pastel, those pass 50% of the time. And they always show a visual example. The Ultramel here will not show a visual example unless you hit the visual. So it would be two copies of it. So it works kind of similar to like a super, like a would in that case. Hope that explains it. So wish I could type more here. Just driving. Well, don't crash, please. Do it at the stops. Blackhead work well with every kind of albinos. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Too bad I can't go. I'm in California. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. But California does have some shows there.
You got the Sacramento one.
Yes.
Well, that one I think just happened though.
That said, I mean, if you're in Lower California, that's a drive. But hey, whatever.
We're Americans. We could drive.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, the pattern on this one is absolutely gorgeous. Isn't Ultramel a T negative? Yes, it's a T negative. So there's some T negatives. It's this and Monarch are one of them. They're not compatible. They're very different. So yes, there you go. There's your het red exanthic. That is not. That's where it gets a little confusing. Somebody just named it het red exanthic, probably because maybe they thought at one point it was a recessive and then just never changed the name. I don't know how that happens, but hey, whatever. So, aren't some Ultramels infertile? No, that is the other one. The other T plus albino that I didn't mention, which I actually have one here, but I don't breed it for that. It is caramel albino. I wouldn't say they're infertile. What's the word I like to use? They're subfertile. I don't know. That's not the word I use. But they have a higher likelihood of slugging out now, or having just more slugs. Some people will also say that they have a higher, if you go caramel to caramel, that they have a higher likelihood of creating a kink snake. I wouldn't say it's a heavy likelihood, but I've never seen that myself personally. I don't think it's a whole bunch. So I'll just let people come to their own conclusion on that. But they are, I can speak from experience, subfertile. That's what I use. Subfertile. What I mean by that is that they just not as fertile as others. I've had one completely slug out. I have, but the year before she laid like half good eggs. So it's yeah. But yes, they can be a little more. I would say, if they get the reputation of the same thing as the super black pastels, it's not like they're more than likely, but they are more likely. That sounds confusing. Let me say it. If you breed one, it's not like 50-50. It's not like it's most of the time you're getting a kink snake. Let's just say your averages of any snake getting a kink is 1%. Because they sometimes just get kinks. Maybe, and I'm not saying this is for sure the things. Maybe a caramel albino would be 5%. It might be more. I don't know. But that's kind of just what people think, is that it's more prone. So, and yes, spider to spider is very bad. That to me is a no-no. That is dead. If you hit the super spider, it's lethal. So yeah. But yeah, Ultramel is a great one to do. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next one here, which also is blackhead. This would be a blackhead clown het hypo. This boy here is probably on the. He does have a reserve though. I've talked about this in the past. If you want to reserve, let's say that you're comfortable spending, I don't know, 500 on him. Don't just put 500 in here. Put 275. Walk it up. That way you're not spending 500 if it wasn't that. But regardless, I think that this one could potentially go cheaper. The blackhead clown is really where it's at, but having the het hypo in there, that's very, very nice. So you get it to a female that's hypo with het clown. That's if you want to save some money. I like doing that way because you're still saving money, but you're always guaranteed to get 100% hets out of that sort of combo. But then again, with that said, is it really that expensive to maybe get a double visual in that case, and then increase your chances of getting more visuals, that is. So the blackhead would be a really nice one to work with the hypo. Heck, I'd really like to get this into like a blackhead clown into the Monarch project, even just because the clown monarchs and whatnot are really something I fell in love with, and that's kind of part of the reason I got into Monarch. So yeah, let's see. But this boy would be really cool if you are working the clown hypo projects, just to get blackhead into that mix. So I want to see what the picture. I don't know what the other picture's referencing. As you can see him there. Maybe that's just one of his clutch mates. There's a comment about how he came from a smaller egg. So, next one here would be this banana het paint boy. The paint gene, I think we talked about that last week too, is really cool. If you don't know what that is, I'll kind of show a quick thing here in just a little bit after I show, because there's two of them I'm showing off here actually. This boy here, obviously, it'd be nice if he was a visual, but then if he was a visual, he'd be quite a bit more expensive. And so, by reference, here is a female Pastel Fire Yellow Belly het paint. And I'm actually a little more excited about these jeans in this combo than I am even the banana one. Because for one, it's a female, so having the head in there is really nice. But I think that Yellow Belly and Fire work really good with the actual visual paint. And that would be these right here. And paint really just kind of, it's like a controlled chaos. They just kind of create this like smeared looking pattern. Some granulation in there too, but it's a little different than just your regular granulation like a GHI, because it's not crazy darkening. It just works with what you give it. It doesn't lead you in a color or shading direction. And it just really kind of, I mean, you can kind of see here a pastel yellow belly paint male, and we just looked at a pastel yellow belly with fire as well, so it would look even more awesome, more bright. This one really makes me look or makes it look super awesome here. But that's the sort of stuff I'm thinking about there. Banana, actually, I feel with paint anyways, almost like kind of lightens it up a little too much, but I've seen some good ones as well. But I mean, when can you go wrong with banana at the same time? So paint is a really nice one. There's a lot of really great breeders working it, but I feel like it's completely under it really hasn't been completely explored and what it can do. So I always try to tell people to think about how you can, for one, do what you're passionate about. Don't go against what you're passionate about, but sometimes we can, look at things and start to fall in love with them. I guess from what I'm saying is that not enough people work paint. And there's quite a bit of untapped potential in what it can do. Like I said, it just completely blows up the pattern and stuff like that. It's very nice, especially with certain color morphs. Works very well with quite a bit. So I think that these would be a very cool pickup. I mean, and they would work well together. Look how cheap that is. Going head to head is not ideal at all, but for some people that is all you can do. And if you look at the price of a paint, you'll see what I'm saying. You know, obviously you're not getting as many visuals, and then you're not as certain. You know, you're sending in shed tests for all the you know, the babies that don't show a visual paint. But yeah. Let's see here. Do another one here before I jump back into the comments. All right, yeah, we're showing off a spider. Yes, we are. So now, the reason I'm showing this off is not just because it's a spider. It's because of obviously the genetics that could possibly be at play there. It's 50% double het monsoon and ultramel. This boy here. Definitely not ideal. You know, in terms of breeding a spider male. I don't like even if you're into spider, unless you're really into it, then you do you. But if you do decide to settle on a spider, and you're just kind of like, well, it just kind of came along for the ride, because sometimes getting a spider in a gene that's more expensive will make it cheaper. I mean that spider sometimes just makes things cheaper. But the point of the matter is this being a monsoon ultramel, if it were, it could be double het. And if it did prove out, you can test for one of these, not for monsoon, obviously for ultramel. But if it proved out as double, he could definitely make it all worth it, for sure. Spider obviously has a little bit of a wobble to it in some cases. A lot of people think it's well, they don't think it anymore, as they shouldn't. It is not a neurological issue. It's what we find out. It is an inner ear deformity. So they have balancing issues, basically. So they are very striking, very different, very busy pattern. It's almost like it's 3 different genes in one. It's almost like a little bit of pinstripe, calico, a little bit of enchi in there, very pattern reducing in a way. Does a lot, and actually that's why I don't prefer it for the most part. I think it's really cool in some combos, but I prefer to stay away from it for several different reasons, and it's just because I kind of like the pattern, so it kind of bunches it up and does a lot. It's difficult to work with, and then even just from a monetary standpoint, people have treated spider like the Black Plague at this point. So, but yes, it is an inner ear deformity. It is not a brain damaged issue. So, but I had to show it off just because of the potential for it being at monsoon head ultramel. This is gonna go cheap. I'm telling you right now, it's gonna go cheap. Because for one, you're dealing with possible hets here, and 2, you're dealing with a spider. But you know, for the chance taker out there, it could change a lot if it ends up proving out. Go ahead and go into a few comments here. I play catch up each time. Yeah, spider is what's, well, there's more than that. Sorry, I'm going back up a bit here, Garrick. But spider to spider, if someone didn't already answer it, is bad. But there's a few other lethal combos out there. Spider to champagne, for example. It's very, I would say, just take a look. We made a video on it too, didn't we? Yeah, about some of those bad combos. And you just want to stay away from those because they're not. You know, spider is a that's controversial, but it's you know, that's up for your own opinion. In my opinion, if you want to work spider, go for it. Just understand that monetarily it's probably not going to be the craziest, but if you love it and that's your passion, just understand that they do have the little bit of the wobble because of the inner ear deformity. But what is not, you know, as controversial is breeding it to the lethal combos. I mean, what was even be the point? It just dies. So just make sure you know those, and stay away from those pairings, and you are right as rain. So, what do I feel? The males are always prettier. Well, in birds and whatnot, that's the case. In reptiles, they just stay a little smaller. So maybe as adults, since they stay smaller. So, hey there, Tori, catching 2 streams in a row. And they are They are sexually dimorphic, but it's just the males are a little smaller. So maybe because they don't grow out, like I was saying, as some people might think that. Obviously the smaller they are, they usually don't change as much, but yeah. Paint and yellow belly looks good. Amen to that. I bet it's because sometimes, yeah, they keep the pretty females. That's for sure. Has a paint banana been made yet? Yes, it has. I'll try to look it up. I saw it earlier. I meant to show it. Oh, that was dumb. What was I expecting? Typing paint banana. Paint banana ball python. Oh my. Okay, so here is a paint banana ball python, apparently. What was I expecting? What was I expecting? Let's do this. Banana paint. That should do it. There you go. That's what I was saying earlier, that I feel like the banana kind of almost just overpowers the chaoticness. Don't get me wrong, the pattern is awesome, but it loses maybe a little. It's just my opinion though on that. Honestly, it does look awesome, but I kind of like a little more of the chaos that it brings in. But still a very cool, striking animal. Want to work with confusion. Confusion is one that I want to do as well. It works really good with clown because you get belly patterns and whatnot. Very, very cool. Acid, confusion, all those ones. A monsoon confusion. I don't know, honestly, because monsoon is already nuts. So I don't know if it would make a difference. Now, sometimes they do patch together really, really, really well. But I don't know. Monsoon works great with color. Although I will say this, it could still bring in that belly pattern that they do. So maybe you get an all over dotted animal. So that would be pretty neat. So maybe that is one of the pattern ones that you could do that would actually be a little more striking. So it's I don't know if anybody's ever done that though. So I see a paint sunset. That would be pretty solid. I don't know if that's been done. If it has, sometimes people don't, they don't want to say. So. Paint sunset, yeah, these all sound great. Krypton, yeah, I thought for a while I might have had a Krypton, but I do not. And Krypton is a combination of cryptic and clown. They're allelic, so they if you get a het, technically what it is, it's het cryptic and het clown, but it creates a visual animal. Where it really reduces or even eliminates their eye stripes. Does some other crazy things there too. But yeah, very, very neat. No spider hinging, Wilma, champagne. Yep, those are not great. Caramel albino, however, if you breed those to it, those I don't believe are a lethal combo, but they still do, have some issues and whatnot. That's not in the spider complex though. That's a recessive, but it does have some issues. That was the video we did. It was combos with problems or something like that. But caramel albino was on there, and as was all of the rest of these that could have potential problems. So I was thinking about the monsoon confusion, monsoon pattern, the confusion belly. Yeah, that would be cool. Throw clown in there too, and yeah, you would definitely get something absolutely nuts. So, are you looking for the video right now?
Just keep going around.
Yeah, we could try to link the video or send in a link here for the lethal combos from Morphmarket. Morphmarket. So, but yeah, there's quite a bit of it in the spider complex. Although not everything. If you mix, like, believe it or not, one of the most popular gene in the spider complex is spot nose, probably. If I had to guess, that would be the case. And I think people are now saying blackhead is in the spider complex, but like somehow I have heard. I don't know if this is true, but I have heard people tell me with absolute confidence, several people, that blackhead and spider is like a cure-all. It takes away the wobble completely. I don't know if they're just full of it, but that's something I've heard. I don't know for sure if that's in that, without doing a little bit of research, the blackhead in that complex, but spot nose is in the spider complex, and spot nose, if you put the two of those together, is not lethal. It can be a little more wonky in terms of like an inner ear deformity, but it's called the Powerball, that one. So they're pretty cool looking actually, but then again, they still do have that, that potential wobble. So
did you get to the lethal combos one?
Oh, you want me to do it?
I put a bookmark in the thing.
I'll have to refresh it here in a second.
No, it should already be refreshed.
It is not.
So just open it.
Oh, you put it in here?
Yes.
Where is it?
The bottom one. Is it not there? Yeah.
What's supposed to rip channels right here?
You can scroll down a bit.
So this is just certain combos with issues and whatnot. So someone's gonna have the wobble. See, that's what I was talking about, the Powerball, Super Spinos. But we're really looking at Fatal, because that's the ones that aren't debatable, really.
Probably want to zoom that in.
Yeah. So Sable, which most people don't even know what that is. Super Champagnes, Champagne Spider, Super Spider. That's not there. Super Spider is a hit or miss discussion. Does it exist? Does it not? I would say it is bad, because most people I've heard of that had tried it back in the day said it died. But then again, I have heard people also argue against it. I'm not going there, though, when we enter the world of ball python conspiracy theories. But yeah, these are your bad ones. These are your no-nos.
Super Spider definitely exists. We've shown it before. I think this article's a bit out of date.
It could be. Which we have the video. If you want, you can try and link that, Johnny. But, oops. Now I did spoil the next one of them. Oh well. Alright, let's go back. Where were we? Oh yeah, talking about this one here, so. Yes, that's what I had heard. That this black-headed spider, that's exactly what I heard. Black-headed spider looks like a normal, acts like a super. Like, that is exactly what I have heard. Now, obviously, I have no empirical evidence, meaning that I've never tried that combo. Because to me, it's almost just like, why would you want to create a normal, right? But it's interesting, though, right? From just a pure learning standpoint, it's interesting if that is the case. If you create something like that, it's like it cures it. Like, they just wash each other out. It's kind of weird, so. What's your biggest ball python? Or male. Biggest male ball python. I have one about that size. He actually has a name here. His name is Anubis, and he thinks he's a reticulated python. I have a funny story about him in my mistakes videos. He's very nice. I like that animal. But if I'm feeding, he is all about the food. He has come out at me several times when there's food. The story goes is that I was breeding him to a female at the time, and I started feeding, and I totally forgot to separate him before I brought the rats in the room. So he comes out at me, and I'm like, oh crud, he's in there. So I put the male, I put the rat back that I was about to feed, in the tub that was below me, and I started moving him, very carefully, and he was shooting down at the rodents, and he was trying in my hand to get the rodents in the tub. And he tried to grab one of the near heat sources, let's just say that, and he wrapped my shorts, thankfully. It was very embarrassing. But and here I am just telling everybody about it. But I put it in the video anyways. But yeah, that's like one of the mistakes I made. So just be careful before feeding. But yeah, he's my biggest male. He's huge. He is huge. And very, very nice. And I love him, except for when I'm feeding him. He's a monster. He literally thinks he's a reticulated python. I've never seen an animal with such a feed drive, especially for a ball python. So never been interested in genes until I started watching ball python videos. Yeah, it's kind of cool. You feel like a little mini scientist. So VPI pair and desert ghost pair. Yeah, I think that's Pet Life. That is I do think I remember you were mentioning that. Hey Smay Serpents, how are you? 1,700 gram male. I don't think my guy is quite that big, but he's pretty big. He's like in the 1,600s. Like, you could be mistaken for a female for sure. So I have a Candino black pastel. Candinos are amazing. Definitely underrated. Candy in general is, so super food aggressive. Yeah, I don't know. That's how my guy here is. So I have a female that's very super food aggressive as well. Yesterday she tried to go for me. It was nuts. So all right, let's go ahead and move forward with the with these, because now we're looking at a Chimera. There's actually some decent breeding potential here. There is a reserve price, and I suspect it might be a decent amount because it is a paradox. The picture's not the absolute greatest, but you can kind of see what that would do. And it's like it's deciding to change. Look at its head. It's like it's one. It's like two-thirds one snake and 1/3 another. Very, very interesting. And it's like perfectly split down the middle of the head until it randomly isn't. And then it's just fighting. Like the snake just couldn't decide genetically what it wanted its pattern and coloring to be. It's so cool that this happens, this sort of paradoxing, and it happens on different levels too. You can have small little things of paradox, and you can have something absolutely nuts. And well, this is one that's nuts. And it's just incredibly crazy and dirty, and what it does, and it just can't decide. But what's even more fascinating about this genetically is that we have all these rules, right, that we follow with ball pythons, and they are to be followed and believed and understood, and that is the case, except for randomly when it isn't. And this is kind of one of them random events that just decided to happen. And you'd think that if a snake had this, you'd almost call it a deformity, right? But it doesn't affect its organs, its spine, anything other than the pattern. It only genetically scrambles the pattern where this animal just literally cannot decide what it is. It's almost like I see it's like, let's look at the actual genes again here. It's fire pastel pinstripe, het desert ghost, and you can see that right. It's like, look, there's the pinstripe all of a sudden, pinstripe, and then over here it's like it's mishmash between several different things. And then it's like, oh, that's a normal. Nope, it's a pinstripe. It's nuts on what it's doing, and that's effectively what it is. It's fighting between pinstripe, lemon blast, which is pinstripe pastel, and fire just mixed in there too. Very cool. I don't know if this one will beat its reserve price, honestly, because chimeras they're one of a kind. Every one of them is basically one of a kind. So however much they value it is, well, it's either going to go or it's not going to go. So get back into the paradoxing is just absolutely insane. Have you ever had a female that hasn't stopped eating being gravid? Yeah, effectively. We had just recently had a puzzle girl lay. She got to size incredibly quick, like the quickest I've ever had ever. She got to I think she's now about 2 years old. Yes, I said that. Like, not even quite 2 years old. And she got to like 1,600 grams, and she finally stopped eating. And I never power fed her or anything like that. Just one appropriately sized rat a week. She always ate. Perfect animal. And so I paired her one time actually with so sometimes when you pair a snake, it can spur a feeding response, and I wanted to just keep her eating for next season to try to get her at 2 years, because that's completely feasible. So I paired her once just to try it, and I never saw anything, like quite literally like 20 minutes of pairing, and then she ate the next week, and then she stopped the week after, so I tried it again, and then she ate again, and I was like, okay, cool, it's working. And then she stopped, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna stop. I'll just, hopefully she'll keep eating eventually here, and I'll be able to pair her. She's already the size. She laid eggs in just around 2 months after those two little teeny pairings for 20 minutes apiece that I never saw a lock on. So yeah, she kept eating pretty much. I mean, she stopped a little bit near the end, but and now she's back to eating again. One of the more wild things I've had happen. So I don't own any ball pythons. Love to. But no way do I have the room right now. They don't take a whole bunch of room. Even if you do, whether you do tub or tank, I actually, for somebody who's kind of just wanting to just have a pet or just very lightly do it, there's lots of these, what I'd call a hybrid, which open in just the front and are blacked out on all sides except for the front. It doesn't need to be incredibly tall or anything like that. And then, of course, if you're a big-time breeder, tubs are great too. But there's ways to do all of it, honestly. Just make sure that you do it right, and then you're good to go. It doesn't take a whole bunch, though. Once you get one, it's like, yes, it's I feel like a Pokemon breeder sometimes. Dino just pre-lay shed. She's still eating but acting gravid. So just keep feeding them. Honestly, they'll know when to stop. And then when they do stop, if if they refuse 2 weeks in a row, just stop feeding them, and then just kind of gauge their personality when you're feeding other snakes. They if they're interested, they'll show you. If they smell the rodent, they'll very quickly turn their head, kind of move towards you, kind of come near the front of the tub. So I would keep feeding it until it's done. Just an appropriately sized rodent, nothing too big. So I wonder how often gravid females keep eating. I have a proven breeder female I bought. It was too hot to ship. Oh yeah, too hot is worse than too cold. So but it just, each animal is kind of different. I've also had animals go off food and for like 7 months after breeding, and then they still didn't lay, and then they laid. It's the goofiest thing. So, but technically, all it takes is one lock. That's it. And there you go. So, all right, I'm gonna jump forward into the next one real quick before going back into the comments. And that would be this ready to breed Enchi Het Monarch, possible Het Piebald. So now I get to talk about Monarch. And Monarch, guys, as I've already mentioned, is absolutely one of my favorite pet projects. I absolutely love it. The contrast on it is insane. It has a very like purplish mahogany type look to it in its pattern, where not like in between. It's almost like the opposite. People ignore this and they look at the pattern like here. But not here. It's absolutely incredible. Now, as always, you'd prefer this to be in a female, in my opinion. But you got to start somewhere, and if you didn't want to get into the Monarch price range, you can pick up a female het, or you could just start, creating some animals yourself in the meantime. It's possible Het Piebald. I would definitely have it tested, shed tested, send in to RGI, and I want to show off what a Monarch pied can look like. And there you have it. I don't know why the thing is in Arabic there, but here we go. This is a Monarch pied. And then next to it is a Monarch fire pied, I believe. So you can see the dark and the light. This video from Canova perfectly shows off what you're looking at here. So fire, it's yellow belly as well, versus just a Monarch pied. And I actually prefer the Monarch pied here. The contrast there is nuts. Like I said, like those colorings right there are basically, let me get a little bit closer look on this thing. Oops, too far. It's like a deep mahogany purplish type like coloring, almost like a really like bad bruising, like a literal bruise on somebody. And when I mean bad because it's on you. It's really good at coloring on this. Just absolutely insane. What that can do. Here's one he made with mahogany, and this is like
you have a timely question.
A timely?
Yes.
What do you mean? What does that mean?
It's you to answer now.
Where is it? What? I don't know what that means. I'm sorry, I'm a boomer. Where is it?
Tori was asking if the one to the right was a pied.
Oh, timely. I thought you were. I don't know what the heck. I thought you were talking. That was some weird thing that you created where somebody like did something. I don't know. Okay. Monarch, yeah. Purple's one of my favorites. The right one is a pied too. Yes, it's just a high. So sometimes this happens like this, right? And you can kind of see some peaking. Let me blow up the video here. See it right there, right next to one of his fingers. Sometimes you just get these heavy pattern pieds, and sometimes you get the exact opposite, right? Now, obviously, I think the fire pied would look better with a little bit more pattern. And by contrast, I think this one would look better with just a little bit more white. I like high pattern snakes, but not completely no white. But you can tell it's a pied just by the pattern. Honestly, it's once you start breeding pieds, you can tell. And you see the belly of it right here, how it's peeking up too, along with this pattern. Like that's a dead giveaway. But yeah, they're both pieds. Just one is a fire yellow belly on the left, and one is just pied monarch. And that is what you could create potentially with that boy that I just showed, if it proves out as pied as well. You know, the monarch, it is het monarch, so that's great. I love the absolute contrast here. Like I said, that color, I have not seen it in any other snake. This particular bruising right here, that's what I have never seen in any other snake right now. It's nuts. So let's take a look at another one he created. These mahogany. Like this is nuts. Like absolutely nuts. Like look at this, because you still get the oranging here, and then it contrasts into this like purplish. And I know like sometimes we throw names like red out there. You know, we throw like, oh, it's a red, but it's not really a red. It's rusty, and therefore is really kind of a form of orangish, right? It's not a true fire engine type red, anyways. But this, I'd say there's a strong argument for a mahogany purple here, and that's about as close as I think you're gonna get to purple right now. Something like this, a mahogany yellow belly pied. So very, very nice. Very, very, very nice. And mahogany is another one of my favorite ones too. So yeah, I had to kind of go on a tangent. It's amazing when you look at this animal right here, and I show you what it could potentially create, what's lurking underneath of this. It's always what's underneath in this game. It's always what's underneath. And again, I suspect, what's the price on this right now? I suspect that this could potentially go a little bit cheaper. If you want to start getting into monarchs, this is a good way to do it, because you're guaranteed on the monarch. Guaranteed that this is het monarch. So get yourself a het monarch female, and kind of go from there. At the very least, you know, a double het female is a little more expensive still. A monarch pied female, but could still be worth it. That's why that one's for sure worth the test. Send in a test to rule out pied. Very, very cool. Looks like they said it's quick to lock, easy to handle. So that's always good to have what they call a stud. So love the monarch gene. It is probably one of my favorite. I'll go ahead and jump back into the questions here. Oh my, there's a lot that came in. Again, I apologize if I miss any. Let's see here. Big difference between Ultramel and Monarch other than recessive gene. They're both recessive, and they're both T+ albino. But when you look at that coloring difference, especially as an adult, these colors right here is what's big time different. These mahoganies. As a Ultramel gets older, it lightens up, I believe, a little bit more. And there's nothing wrong. It's just a different animal, is all. So here's a oops, dang it. Give me just a second here. Okay, so here's an Ultramel, and this is a pied, obviously, so it's got that in there too. They're very similar, you know, as in some ways, but there is some subtle differences, and they age quite differently. They're just different animals, and there's nothing wrong with either of them. Ultramel is beautiful. Monarch is absolutely beautiful. I don't buy into that whole versus thing. They're different. They're different. They do different things. They have some similarities, yes, absolutely, but I feel like the Monarch is better for these deeper, you know, darker type colors, in my opinion. And then the Ultramel, I feel like it's a little bit lighter, especially as an adult. So, all right, keep going here. 75%. Yeah, that's my favorite pied. I'm assuming that's what you mean. 75%, like mostly pattern, and then white. But I could go for the 50. There, yeah. Shiva says 50% personally. I could go for that too. It's when it's higher white that that I'm kind of just like okay. But it's still cool. It's different. And ironically, it's a flip of what I used to believe. I used to like the higher white ones, and then just started to change my taste in it, I guess. So. But I think that the pattern, especially being broken up as many times as possible, that's why I don't mind the white. I want the white to come in as much as possible because it disrupts it. And then when you have more disruption in pied, it creates more chaotic, cool, sporadic patterning and coloring. You get kind of the smileys going in and stuff like that. So that's why I definitely want it to be there. But I'd prefer it less than the white, I guess. So. Let's see here. Pet Life. We are working on Suma pieds. Yes, that's one of my favorite pieds. The super mahogany pieds. If anybody doesn't know what Suma is, are probably I like them better than panda pieds. 100%. They almost seem like they're a little chaotic in themselves too. So they almost have a little bit of paradoxing, but they're not. They're just chaotic but yet cool. It's like planets colliding is what I've used to describe them before. So and they can be kind of almost black, and then they can be in a way kind of a mahogany-ish in there too. So can't wait for your Halloween video. Oh, we gotta talk about that more, Johnny. We're still kind of planning the Halloween video, but we've kind of nailed it down a little. I appreciate that. Yeah, we have fun doing them. So we're still kind of working on some themes and all sorts of things and whatnot, but yeah. So I don't know. We might. I'd usually like to try to create a different theme for each one. The first one was more educational and more, we obviously I love Halloween, and I love the movie Halloween. So that's kind of how I did the first one. It was very, Michael Myers is very much not in that movie, and just. It's kind of how that one was. And then the second one was more of a found footage-ish combined with that. So I don't know what I'll do for that. For sure, we kind of have some ideas, and I think we've mostly nailed it down. But yeah. Yeah, the auction, we're getting distracted. It's like Coke and Pepsi. Yep. 100%. If you're talking about the Monarchs versus that. So, all right, let's move back into this. Looking at this chocolate Mojave Trick. Trick and is the same. I think we talked about this earlier today. It's the same as Hurricane, and this one here just looks so cool being in a female. It's a proven breeder at that. Well, I don't know if it's proven, but it's to size 100%. So another one that if you wanted to create cool animals but not having to pay a fortune on it and whatnot, this would be really cool. Like I said, it looks very, very nice as is. I would immediately I'd love to see this with some GHI, and of course my mind always goes to the recessives, so I'd like to see it in pied, in clown, but being a female, you can start kind of working however you want with that. Not for everybody, not for somebody who's really probably like heavy into the recessives, and that's what a lot of them are working. But it's a cool looking animal, and then again, it's another cool one that if you're starting out and you want to learn to breed but you still want to create cool things, you can do that and on a budget, and you can do it right away because this animal is the size. So very, very nice. Back into pieds would be this pied 100% het desert ghost, and I think we're double het. No, I'm sorry, take that back. It's a pied double het clown ghost. Yes, because I have a few of them here to show off this triple recessive type project. And this female would be a really cool one if that is what you are wanting to work. Is desert ghost, or sorry, keep saying that. Dang it. Ghost and hypo are the same thing. It has now started to be called hypo more often because of what I just demonstrated. Because there's so much confusion when it comes to with ghost and desert ghost. Especially since people breed them together and they create desert ghost hypos. Just imagine if people still called it ghost more often, it'd be a desert ghost. So yeah. Anyways, this is a pied 100% het clown hypo. Let's just say that female. So she'd be a really good one to add, probably for a budget for this project. I don't think she'll go for a crazy amount. Here's one with the hypo being visual now. So now we're getting the I think it's the same breeder. Yes, so you could get both these females and save on the shipping. This is a visual hypo now, with the clown being 100% het ghost, or 100% het ghost. See, I'm so confused. 100% het clown. And you get a male clown. They're not going to be crazy expensive. Clown pied with het hypo or something like that. It saves some money. And you could be creating some really awesome animals here. Here's another hypo pied het clown. You can see that's a different breeder in this case. So that's effectively the same looking, the same genetics here, just a little bit different, probably because this one is a bit bigger. Yep. So you can see it's already halfway to size. That's really nice too. A lot of the work has been taken out of it there for you. I really like how kind of just the different shading palettes that you get here. Very, very cool. And then I wanted to show when you hit the triple what it looks like. But this would be a great group of females to get if you wanted to work this, because it would basically get you started right away. I would highly recommend that you get a male with a lot of codominance in him so that you can breed those into these females and have 3 chances to get some really cool things. But this is what a triple recessive would look like. The clown pied hypo. I really like the very potent orange here. It is a different kind of deep saturated orange than what we normally get. This is from Las Vegas bull pythons here. I believe that this animal has grown since this. It's been 2 years. I think they have this animal still, and it aged quite well. Again, like we were talking about earlier, I'd like more pattern, but I feel like a lot of clown pieds sometimes don't have a lot of pattern, unfortunately. But it's not like completely white either, though. So it's about what I see on average, I feel. Never really looked into that, but maybe get some inchy in there. That'll get some pattern back. But very, very cool. But that's the sort of thing. If you wanted to work that project, this would be a really solid group of animals to get. And one of them you'd be able to get there a lot quicker than the other two, probably a whole year or two, honestly. All right, moving right into another one here. And this is another male here that would, obviously we'd prefer to have visuals, but as I always say, sometimes that doesn't work that way on your budget, and that would be this double het desert ghost clown. Now it is a desert ghost this time. I'm not messing it up. Basically, I'm thinking, long term, what a desert ghost clown really looks like, and well, here you go. That's it with pastel. Obviously this one has head hypo too, but that's not affecting the pattern or anything like that. Just absolutely beautiful in what they do and what they shine, how they shine, and how clean they are, how creamy they are. So not a whole bunch to say about him, because you look at him and he just looks like a normal, right? Nothing too crazy about that, but that's what I'm talking about, is you get this to breed, to create what I just showed you before. You get a female that's also double het, and you can do it on a budget. Going head to head is not super duper ideal, as I have already said, but in some cases that's what you got to do, you know what I mean? And I think this is for everybody. Obviously the more money you pump into this, the more rewarding it's going to be for you, but I don't think that anybody should be disqualified based on that. Just as long as you're taking care of the animal and taking care of your babies, and you have all that squared away, your chances won't be as high, but you could still create cool things. So, all right, we're almost down to a few of them, the last one, so I'm going to jump back into the comments and then show some hognoses and then finish off with our last 5, I think, here. So, let's see here. High white pieds were cooler back when they cost a fortune. Yeah, I mean, it's always fun making money. That since has a pied that was 90% white. For around 200, I passed on it at the time. What time do you start pairing your bull pythons, and when do you usually expect the eggs? Well, I normally would have told you here I use Tinley as my starting thing. So this week, like the next week after is when I start. I either have done it on Tinley week, so I'll do it this week here, or I will have done it the next week. But now I think I'm gonna wait an extra month because everything laid super duper late this year, for the most part. Honestly, I mean, that's when most people will tell you they're pairing is in the October-ish region, like right now, because that's what it's believed that they breed in Africa in. But I mean, let's face it. I mean, they might be more because of atmospheric pressure and whatnot, that they can sense sort of stuff like that to breed in certain temperatures or climates or rainy weather and all that sort of stuff. But we could talk about the birds and the bees, but when a mama snake and a papa snake love each other very much, it's not going to change the end result. So they can breed whenever you want them to. Honestly, I've bred some of them off season. I always had a few of them that were just always late, so I started breeding them in May. Now it seems like because everybody went late and on time, that's like they're all on the same schedule now. It's weird. They just decide when they're going to. So I normally started pairing this very week, but I'm going to hold off probably at least 2 weeks, maybe a little more. So, Shiba Fox, if you have a female that eats while gravid and puts on weight immediately after laying, how soon do you try introducing a male again? Well, that's a good question. I like to go by the body condition, but they do need some time off. They not like years or anything like that. They can go year and year, right in a row, but eventually they should have a year off. I'd say every 4 years maybe, or something like that. Just give them a year. It's a good idea, anyways. But to answer your question, you can start pairing honestly pretty quickly because they're going to decide when they want to lay. I'd say just go by body condition. Just make sure that they get back up to size. And they're going to lay whenever their body is ready to lay. So if they pair, they're not going to build the eggs right away. Let's put it that way. That's the way they're different in terms of us, is they still build their follicles a little bit differently than like a mammal would and whatnot. But they there's no danger, I guess, really, in doing it too soon. But if they don't start eating, I'd say do not, because they need that extra weight and whatnot to be healthy. But I'd say there's no clear answer. I'm sure if you Googled it, someone they'd say like 6 months or 3 months. I think I've seen 3 months. Let me actually do that right now. But I wouldn't actually. I know it sounds bad, but I wouldn't put too much into it because they're going to decide when to when they're ready to build their eggs again. When pythons here after. Here's what Google has to say. Oops. Some people say they do it every 9 months. A lot of people say 2 years on, a year off. But realistically, I mean, if they lay on time, let's just say they lay in May, they'd be ready to breed by October for sure. If they lay in August, maybe you wait just a little bit longer. But I don't think it's like I said, I don't think it's as crazy as some people make it out to be, because they're gonna build their follicles when they're ready. So and yes, the breeding process will usually cause them to eat more, ironically, but yeah, just don't overdo it. Don't make them too don't overdo the breedings and whatnot, I guess is what I'm saying. So alright. Oops, I lied. I accidentally showed. Oh wait, no, this is one we already showed, so I didn't lie. Alright, I want to go ahead and show the Hognoses that are available. There's not a whole bunch. We do love Hognoses here. We're going to be starting to breed them. We're already growing them out. Should have some next year. But these are what's available right now on auction. Let's see here. This one here can create a snow. So an anaconda albino, and albino is my favorite, honestly, probably amongst hognoses. I love it, and it's different from ball pythons. It's more, I honestly feel it's very, very vibrant, at least for the base albino, like albino versus albino. Being 66% hexantic, if he proves out, means you can create snows, and that's the combo of the albino and the xanthic. And I'm not sure if I'm correct here. I'm still learning 100% on the morph nicknames, but I think the conda with that might be the Yeti. Could be wrong there, though. But that would be the snow and the conda, if I am correct. But my favorite combination of all is the sunburst, and that's sable and not conda. That's sable and albino. It creates a very vibrant looking animal, where it's just very orange and like a deep orange, like the sunburst. It's very nice, and conda creates these it reduces the pattern, creates kind of these like splotches and whatnot. So very, very nice. Free shipping on this one too, but there is a reserve price because sunburst, last I checked, still go in the $2,000 range. Maybe they've come down a bit, I don't know. Here's a super arctic conda het albino that's also 50% het sable. Very, very powerful, especially if it proved out as het sable. Looks like cookies and cream, honestly. Very, very nice. And that's the super arctic kind of working for you there. It's arctic kind of fades them out, creates like a snowy like look. But in the right combinations, it can create a good amount of contrast where it's dark and light, and that's what you got here. Very cookies and cream. And again, if you create the if it proves out as het sable, then you're kind of also dancing with the sunburst like we just showed, with all this awesomeness. So it's going to be even more starkly amazing. I don't know what a super daddy is. Again, I'm not perfect with this, with their nicknames yet. It is a super conda, super arctic. I'm assuming a conda arctic albino is a daddy. I don't know, but it's also possible het sable. So this female here could also create the sunbursts as well, and it's cool as well. Super conda eliminates all the pattern, by the way, and just leaves the coloring along just the whole body of the snake, except for where the head is. Super cool and unique that it knows to stop there somehow. Like the genetic coding just worked, where it's just like, we're gonna eliminate all the pattern, almost like a blue-eyed Lucy, except on the head. It's cool how genetics works, and it's different for every animal. So very cool and unique. But those are the hogs that I wanted to show off this week that are on auction. So we're gonna go right back in here and finish it off with our final 5. Alright, that would be starting off with this pastel spot nose lavender het clown female. Pretty well started at 420 grams too. The lavenders are really, really nice. This is more in your line of more of like the brighter type albinos, and it kind of creates and brings in this like lavender type look. Probably the more popular of all of the brighter type albinos is lavender, because I mean, lavender hides, well, those are the dreamsicles. But lavender clowns, what are those? Well, those we call grails, and this is a grail. Also from Canova. What?
Zoom in.
Oh, okay. Zooming in. I can't zoom in.
Oh.
Okay. Sorry. But well, that's what you get. But they're very, very nice, very, very vibrant, and they have enough contrast and seem not to bleed into each other quite as much, especially with that, because a lot of the clown albinos, like just the regular albinos, sometimes will bleed and they'll become like a two-tone yellowish or two-tone orangish. But the lavender, if it does start to bleed, well, it bleeds lavender, so it still creates a contrast from the orange, because now you have orange on lavender versus orange on lighter orange, or yellow on lighter yellow, for contrast. So it's very nice, and it doesn't bleed into each other and look like kind of almost like a two-tone snake as much. It's definitely two separate color palettes there. Very, very cool. And that's what you could create from doing this. It definitely doesn't hurt that there's spot nose in there. So create yourself a Grail Batman there. Get yourself a lavender albino clown Well, that is the grail. Get yourself, if you want to save some money, get yourself some lavender albino het clown with leopard, and you create some grail Batmans. That'd be pretty sweet. So I'm thinking big picture there, like some of the cool stuff you can create with that. So, and then when we get to our final two, I'm going to jump back into the comments here. I think Billy Rowe, Fermentation Creation, waits at least 4 months. Well, there you have it. Billy knows everything. So, yes. That's a good idea. Like, I was going to say 3 at the latest. I mean, at the earliest. But you know, I honestly, 4 is probably a good one. So, like, I've had ones that just laid, which just surprised me. I won't be breeding them. And honestly, I might just skip them just to get them back on a regular schedule. I mean, they just laid, right? So it makes sense to just get them back on there. But then I have ones that will be ready. You know, a lot of them they laid late, but it's, you know, it was like in, when the heck was it? Was it June and July? So that's why I said I might wait into the November-ish and whatnot. So, let's see. She laid mid-August, about 4 months by the time she finished her quarantine, assuming she's all good. Yeah, and just always keep in mind, they may not cooperate with you. That always sucks, but I've had ones that I got here, and then they just wouldn't eat. Especially, like, adults that are kind of on their own little regiment, and they're set in their ways. They might just decide to go off food, and that always sucks. And you can try pairing them to get them to eat. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, if they start eating and they respond to that, then great. But if you don't see a response, a change in eating, just don't bother. Just let them be and give them the year off. It's called that because that's part the super daddy. Yeah, I guess. That's funny. Yeah, when we are, like, as my brother typed out there, we are approaching the end here. I think I'm just showing off. I think there's actually just one more. No, 2 more. 2 more. And that would be this Candino project. Nothing super fancy here. But this is a heavily underrated candy. I said it earlier, is heavily underrated. And if you like albino too, I know we had that was being mentioned earlier. They work together really well because they're allelic. And allelic is where one of the times where the genes, you know, it's like, hey, if you have a het and a het, it doesn't show a visual, right? 2 different hets don't show a visual. We already established that, right? Wrong. except for when it does. So these genes exist on the same allele. They are different, but they are so closely related that they create a visual animal. And it's very like a lighter lavender. So it's kind of similar to like the lavender albino, Candy and Candino for that process. So what you're seeing here looks like 3 different animals, 1 male and 3 females, and they're all Candinos. So that means that they are all het albino and het candy. You're technically looking at a double recessive here, or sorry, a double het here, but it creates this. And on top of that, it works a little differently because it being allelic. It works like a super or like any other type of recessive. It always passes on 1 copy of the gene. Now, which copy, you'll never know unless you do a recessive, unless you do a genetic test with RGI, or you raise them up and breed them out. And when they're first born, to add on to that, it's very difficult to tell the difference between an albino and a Candino. It's very difficult because they look like the same for the most part. It is said that they have deeper ruby red eyes, and that sometimes you can see the lavenders a little bit better, and I do find that to be the case most of the time, but it's subtle. And then as they shed more and more and more, you start to see it. You definitely start to see the lavenders come in, and it becomes a no-brainer at some point. I mean, I've held back a very beautiful albino pied that I have here, who laid this year for the first time, and her babies, they're eating very, very well and are about to be, released. Honestly, because I got no need for them. I just love creating them. And then I also held back her stepsister, or not stepsister, her half-sister, a Candino pied, a visual Candino pied. And the differences as they age is starkly different. I mean, you get a lavender like look instead of the whites coming in, except for where the pied comes in. That is white. That is pure white. But this is a cool looking project here. If you just want to raise them up and create something simple. Now, if you're breeding all these together, it's going to work very interestingly, right? Because if you breed a het albino het candy to a het albino het candy, I already said that half the time one will pass on and half the time the other pass on. So what will you get? Well, you'll get, I think it's 3 different results. I believe that you will get candinos, you will get albinos, and you'll get candies. I'm going to double check that just to make sure. But, and it's going to be very funny to figure out what those are each time. Oops, no, het candy, there we go. To a het albino het candy. Yep, so here's your results. So 50% of the time you'll get
probably assume that.
50% of the time breeding those together you'll get a Candino, which is the combo that we just showed you, the Alila combo. And then 25% of the time you will get albino, and 25% of the time you'll get candies, which is even more lavenderish. So very underrated little complex right there. And very cool that they are allelic with each other. Alrighty. And then our final one would be this female here, would be this fire, red stripe, yellow belly, het desert ghost female. And another one there that you can tell they're starting it at what their reserve price would be. What's really nice about this is that it is basically breeder ready. Or wait, it's proven. Probably just laid. This girl gave us 6 good eggs in August. Yeah, so there you have it. In a couple months, she'll be ready to eat, or breed again, probably. And it looks like they showed off their last clutch as well. Yeah, you can see some cool looking animals in there. I think the desert ghosts and whatnot. There definitely some fires, but that's I think where you're obviously going with this is if you're working the Desert Ghost project. The fire, red stripe, yellow belly, you hit the odds and get something really nice with those, and you hit a visual Desert Ghost. I would immediately try to get this into leopard. I think confusion would actually work very well as well because it jumbles things up. And anytime you get red stripe and yellow belly together, it looks very nice. Spot nose would be another good one to get in there. Orange dream would be a very nice one. And then leopard I think would be great because Desert Ghost is going to clean all that up and just make it pop. Just absolutely beautiful. That I think would be very nice. In being in a female, you just get yourself a visual Desert Ghost male with all those aforementioned genes, or whatever project you really want to work. Would look really cool together. Maybe you do the black pastel and red stripe. You create yourself basically the Pompeii desert version, but with Desert Ghost instead of clown. I think that'd look cool. Obviously, it wouldn't be very, very different, but that'd be pretty neat. But being in a female, there's a lot of different avenues you could go in terms of males that you pair to her. But obviously, you want to utilize that Desert Ghost either way. So, all right, I'll go ahead and finish off with the comments here. But that is all that I have to show you today. I appreciate that, Bob. Thank you. Shiba, differentiating Candinos, albinos, candies, hatchlings from razor is so hard. Yes, it can be literally impossible. If you in some cases until they start shedding. So sometimes it's, you have to wait a little bit. So if I did that project, it'd have to be pure candy toffee. So that's a good point, by the way. Candy and toffee are the same exact gene. They would work differently by different breeders, so we kind of by reverence their name and whatnot. But yeah, they are the 100% the same gene. So even though there was not a whole bunch, it was awesome. Engaging and talking with everybody here. And there's a reason probably why there's a whole lot. At least I have a theory. It's because Tinley is this week. So a lot of the breeders are holding their stuff. So we will be at Tinley filming. So that's a video definitely please watch. Even if it's something you fall asleep to. We love creating those, but it's we have several different things. So we're gonna are we doing the teaser again this year or no?
I have no idea.
Sometimes on Fridays nights we'll do a teaser. So Friday night we might release something of a quick little bit, and it won't be up on the channel forever, most likely anyways. It just shows you a little bit. Maybe we will, maybe we won't, because it's really late and we have to get up super early the next day. I'll get to that in a second, Pet Life, about the auction video for later this week. But I'll get to that here in just 1 second. The full walkthrough is going to be like walking into Tinley. So if you can't make it to Tinley, I heard someone was in California, you can make it to Tinley. You can vicariously go there. And what it is it's not, we get as detailed as you possibly can get in terms of showing things. So we're walking the show. These videos are in the high 3 hours to 4 hour range, roughly. In 1 year we did 5 hours even, I think.
I think we did.
Huh? I thought we did.
The longest was 4.
Okay, I thought it was 5. Whatever. Either way, they're long, and it's basically you're walking through each aisle from walking from right to left the entire way. So it's not, and it's pretty detailed. Obviously, we're not going to stop and show beautiful, shots that are thumbnail worthy in this particular one, for the most part, anyways. But the point is to see everything, to get an idea of it and look at everything, the environment, the atmosphere, to vicariously be there. And we put tags on everything so you can skip around. So let's just say you wanted to see the video, but you only wanted to see what Canova brought. Well, no problem. Take a look at the timeline, click on Canova, boom, you're there. You can see exactly what he brought. But I would recommend checking out a lot more than that, because there's a lot of awesome animals at the show. And there's more than ball pythons, honestly. There's so many cool animals. We do a video afterwards, by the way, of a more thumbnail worthy shots, by the way, and that is what we call our compilation, right? Or whatever. The uncut, that's what we call it. We call it an uncut, and that one there is a bunch of really nice shots, in no real massive order, but it's just a bunch of really cool shots. Crosstown Exotics is awesome for that. Like almost every single one of our thumbnails comes from them. So I look forward to seeing their beautiful animals again. And then we do a top 5 ball pythons, and we typically do a top 5 reptiles that are not ball pythons. So we exclude ball pythons. They get their own category. They don't get to be in this one. So it can include snakes. I think we actually made it top 5 animals now, right?
I don't remember.
We did spider last time.
Yeah, I guess we did.
Yeah. So it's top 5 animals. Because we also showed off Big Sam 1 year.
Yep.
Big Sam is always the winner, by the way. Just know that. Even though we don't call him, he's Big Sam. He's number 1 every year. Anyways, but yeah, those are some of the content we'll release over the next couple weeks. The walkthrough, we're gonna try to get that done quickly. That's always that's one that we try to get to very quickly. It'll probably be, probably early in the week, right? Did we get that one done? No later than Wednesday, I think.
I don't remember. I thought we changed that.
Whatever. It will be within the week, for sure. At the latest, probably maybe Saturday. In fact, actually, I think we might do a Saturday, Sunday. So Saturday will be the Tinley walkthrough. Sunday would be, or maybe we'll do Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Whatever.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yes, there we go. So, and then to answer your question on the auction video this week, we might do one, but it's going to be a live stream. Being that we are going to be waking up probably early on Friday, or at the very least we kind of need to train ourselves to at least, somebody here needs to train himself to get up a little earlier. It'll probably be a live stream this if there's enough variation. I don't want to just jump on there if there's not much, but if there's enough to talk, even if for 30 minutes, then we'll do that. So this video will be that, and then Friday we'll probably throw out a teaser if we do any of that at all. And then Sunday we'll have our normal video, which I think, what is it? Night cutting? What is Sunday's video?
Night cutting?
I don't know. You're making it.
I haven't started that video, to be honest with you.
Okay. Well, there you go. I think it's a night cutting. So, yeah. But yeah, we just look forward to that. Like I said, we love making those ones. The walkthroughs are a lot of fun. So we'll be at the auction that night too on Saturday for Tinley. So if you're there and you see me, say hi. I love meeting people and whatnot. So, but yeah, we're gonna go ahead and cut it off here. We'll see everybody definitely next week. I think we'll do it again next week. Again, I never guarantee these. It really just depends on what I find. If there's enough to talk about.
This isn't our 5th consecutive.
It is, but I just don't want to guarantee that it will always be. So, but then also maybe on Thursday night we'll do it again with another live stream. So, alrighty. Hope everybody has a great night. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it as always. Have a good one. We'll see you in the next one.